I'm Rachel, 32, the younger sister who was always in the background. I thought maybe this time this fitting she'd want me there, but no one even asked if I was coming in. Mom glanced at me, then said, "Just wait outside, sweetheart. What happened next wasn't part of anyone's plan." They were already laughing when I arrived. The boutique's glass door swung shut behind me with a soft chime, muffled by the velvet rug underfoot. Claire stood on a small platform surrounded by mirrors glowing under the lights, a glass of champagne in one hand, and Jessica fixing the hem of her dress. I wasn't late, Mom had told me 11:00 sharp, but from the way Claire barely flicked her eyes toward me, you'd think I was intruding. "Rachel," Mom said, turning her head slightly, not fully. "Maybe just wait outside for a few minutes, they're about to start the fitting." Outside. I blinked. It was December, and the cold crept in through the seams of my coat. My hands were still red from the steering wheel. I looked at Claire, but she didn't say a word. Jessica grinned like she'd won something. I stepped back. "Sure," I said quietly. There was no place to sit outside the boutique, just a narrow bench near the alley where deliveries came through. I sat clutching the gift bag I'd brought. Inside was a custom silk hairpiece I'd commissioned for Claire months ago, hand-beaded, vintage-inspired. She'd wanted something original, something not off the rack. I remembered the night she told me over coffee, back when we still had coffee. I watched my breath fog in front of me. Inside, laughter flared again. Through the window, I caught sight of Mom lifting Claire's veil like it was a relic. No one looked toward the door. No one missed me. 15 minutes passed, then 30. The cold started to work its way through my boots. I checked my phone, but there were no messages. Not even a "we're done" or "come in now." Once, when I was 16, Claire forgot to pick me up after swim practice. I waited outside the school gym for 2 hours. When she finally arrived, she shrugged, saying she lost track of time. I never told Mom. A car honked from the street. I startled, then stood, brushed myself off, and walked back inside. Mom was mid-sentence when she noticed me. "Oh," she said, "we're almost done. Could you give us a second?" Claire didn't turn. She was inspecting herself in the mirror while Jessica adjusted her train. I stood near the entryway like a coat rack no one planned to use. My gift bag hung limply at my side. "She wants something with more structure," Jessica said loud enough for me to hear. "This one's too plain. You don't want to look cheap on your big day." Claire laughed, a soft, practiced sound that didn't reach her eyes. My fingers tightened around the ribbon of the bag. "Rachel," Mom said, finally acknowledging me, "you can just leave it there, honey. On the counter." "Honey." I placed the gift gently next to a stack of bridal magazines. No one looked. A breeze stirred as the boutique door opened. Someone walked in, tall, with silver hair pulled back and a scarf draped just so. The room fell quiet for a beat. "Vincent." He didn't glance at anyone else. His eyes found mine immediately. Vincent's presence changed the temperature of the room. His shoes made no sound on the boutique floor, but somehow everyone stood straighter. Even Claire shifted slightly, tucking a loose curl behind her ear. Jessica opened her mouth as if to speak, but Vincent had already moved toward the platform toward Claire, then stopped. "I was told this was the bride," he asked, voice velvet-wrapped steel. Claire beamed. "Yes, I'm Claire. We're just finalizing my dress. I wanted something elegant but not too safe, you know, something classic with a twist." Vincent's eyes didn't move to her. He glanced at Jessica, then Mom. Finally, he looked back at me. "Did you design this?" he asked, gesturing not to the dress Claire wore but to the hairpiece I had placed on the counter. I blinked. "It's a gift." He walked over, picked it up as if it were porcelain, and held it to the light. Hand-stitched. Real silk. Vintage beadwork. Someone knows what they're doing. My ears burned. Claire's smile faltered just slightly. Jessica stepped forward. "It's from her," she said quickly, gesturing to me. "She makes little things like that sometimes." Vincent raised one eyebrow. "Little things." He turned to me. "Did you make this?" I nodded once. "Yes." There was a long silence. Then he smiled, not wide, not performative, but like he had just found something rare at the bottom of a drawer. "I want to try something," he said, walking back toward Claire, "but I need her help." He nodded toward me. Claire blinked. Her Jessica's mouth opened again. Vincent didn't wait. "Come," he said. "Rachel, yes." I walked slowly toward him, every step feeling like it echoed through a tunnel. Claire's eyes were on me, narrowed now. Jessica looked confused, almost annoyed. Mom was unreadable, her expression carefully frozen between polite interest and concern. Vincent held up the hairpiece beside Claire's head, but then turned back to me. "This would work better on you," he said. "The bone structure, the contrast. It sings." Claire laughed, a brittle sound. "Wait, are you saying?" Vincent cut her off gently. "I'm saying I'd like Rachel to model something." "For the new line?" I wasn't sure I heard him right. Mom finally spoke. "Oh, but Rachel's not really involved in." "I know," Vincent said. "That's why it's refreshing." The boutique assistant had appeared silently beside him, already holding a hanger with an ivory sheath dress. Simple lines, no beads, no fuss. "Let's just try it," Vincent said. I didn't look at anyone as I followed the assistant to the back. The fitting room smelled like lavender and starch. The lights were warmer here. I closed the curtain and changed quickly, fingers trembling only a little. The dress slid on like it had been waiting for me. When I stepped out, even the boutique assistant froze. She looked at me like she was seeing something form out of fog. Claire stood by the mirror, arms crossed. Jessica muttered. Seriously, I walked onto the platform without being asked. Vincent circled me once, then twice, like a jeweler inspecting a diamond in daylight. "This," he said softly, "is presence." Claire's mouth opened, but no words came out. Mom looked away, and for the first time all morning, no one laughed. Vincent stepped back, hands behind his back, head tilted. "It's not just the dress," he murmured, "it's how it rests on a person. Some dresses demand quiet strength. This one refuses to be worn by anyone uncertain." The words weren't loud, but they landed. Claire turned toward the assistant. "Can we go back to my fitting now?" she asked, her tone tight. The assistant glanced at Vincent. He didn't respond, just gestured for me to step down from the platform. I moved slowly, careful, holding the feeling like water in cupped hands. I could sense Claire's tension, could feel Jessica's frustration like a prickle in the air. But I didn't respond to any of it. I didn't have to. Vincent spoke again to the assistant this time. "Can you bring the double pleat crepe? I think it'll complement her frame better." Claire stepped forward. "Excuse me, we're here for my bridal fitting." Vincent turned to her, polite but distant. "Yes, and we've completed that session. Your alterations are being finalized, but I have just found someone who fits the spirit of our next showcase." Then to me again, soft but certain, "You have a story in your stance." That sentence stayed with me. Mom walked over, voice hushed. "Rachel, maybe don't make this about you. It's Claire's day." I looked at her, not angry, just quiet. She didn't hold my gaze long. Back in the fitting room, as I stepped out of the sample dress, I realized something. I hadn't tried to prove anything. I hadn't argued, I hadn't begged, I had just shown up. That night I went home and laid the dress sketch Vincent had handed me on the kitchen table. It wasn't mine to keep, but he said I could study it. "Consider your hands," he'd told me. "They tell me you've made things for years. It's time others saw them." In the quiet of my apartment, I heard his voice again. "You have a story in your stance," and for the first time in a long while, I believed it might be true. 2 weeks later, I received a group text from Mom: "Bridal brunch this Sunday at the house. Claire would love to see you all," a smiley face at the end like a gentle tap on the head. I hesitated before replying. My name was listed with 10 others. Not a personal invite, not even a separate message. Just another guest. On Sunday, I brought a fruit tart from the bakery near my apartment. I knew Claire loved strawberries, and even though no one asked me to bring anything, it felt better to show up with something. The house was already bustling when I arrived. Laughter spilled from the patio. Claire's friends were draped across lawn chairs in soft pastels, sipping something sparkling from slender glasses. Jessica saw me first. "Oh, you made it," she said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "We weren't sure." I returned the smile more out of habit than warmth. "Looks like a full house." Claire was inside with Mom fixing a centerpiece. When I stepped into the kitchen, Mom barely glanced up. "Oh, Rachel, can you put that?" She gestured vaguely somewhere not in the way the florists late and were short on vases. Claire turned. Hi. A quick wave. Then back to arranging the lilies. There was no hug, no greeting beyond that small syllable. I set the tart on a corner of the counter near a stack of napkins. From the living room, I heard someone mention the upcoming wedding rehearsal. Jessica chimed in. Claire, I told you you should just have your cousin do the readings. She's always been like a sister. Claire laughed. True, and at least she won't make things awkward. I felt that one in my stomach. The kind of comment meant to be casual but sharpened just enough. Mom didn't say anything. She just kept adjusting the flowers one petal at a time. Later, when everyone sat at the long table outside, I found myself at the far end next to one of Claire's co-workers I barely knew. The seating was informal, but somehow there were no empty chairs near Claire. It wasn't assigned yet. Everyone had found a place close to her except me. The tart remained untouched. I watched as Jessica presented Claire with a small box. Just something silly, she said. But I thought of you when I saw it. Claire unwrapped it and pulled out a gold-plated compact mirror with her initials engraved. It's perfect, she beamed. Way better than Rachel's usual handmade stuff, Jessica joked, then quickly added, kidding. The table chuckled lightly. Claire didn't stop her. I didn't flinch. I just reached for my glass of water and sipped, calm, silent. Mom spoke up then. Jessica's just teasing Rachel. I know, I said, still smiling. It's fine. But my hand stayed wrapped around the glass a little longer than necessary. The week after the brunch, I received a short message from Claire Fitting. Is Friday. 2 p.m. Don't be late. No punctuation. No please. Just the facts. I arrived at the boutique 10 minutes early. The place was tucked into a charming corner of downtown gold signage, tall glass windows, and white orchids in every corner. Inside, the air smelled like clean fabric and faint roses. Claire was already there, laughing with Jessica and the assistant. 3 gowns hung neatly on a rack nearby. When she saw me, Claire waved a hand. Rachel, just hang back, okay? We're still deciding between these two first. Jessica added, yeah, and space is tight. Maybe chill by the window. The assistant glanced at me, then looked away. No greeting. I stepped aside, standing near a small table with a stack of fashion magazines. No one offered me a seat. Claire stepped into the first gown. It shimmered soft ivory with intricate beading across the bodice. Jessica gasped. That's the one. Claire turned, examining herself in the mirror. It's a bit much. Mom walked in just then. Oh, honey, it's perfect, like royalty. Then she noticed me. Oh, Rachel, you're here. She said it as though I'd dropped in uninvited. Can you take a picture from the side, but try not to get the lighting too harsh? I took the phone, snapped a photo, handed it back. Claire changed into the second gown, a sleeker, more modern silhouette with an open back. This time, she didn't ask for anyone's opinion. She turned in front of the mirror, then asked Jessica, is this more editorial? Jessica shrugged. Depends on the lighting. But your shoulders look amazing. They laughed. I watched, still standing. The assistant came over quietly. Would you mind stepping outside for a moment? The designer's coming in and we need the space clear. There it was. The official ask. Not a suggestion, an instruction wrapped in politeness. I nodded. Of course. I stepped outside. It was warm out. The kind of soft heat that sticks to your skin but doesn't burn. I stood near the storefront window peering in. I could see Claire, twirling arms, raised the train of the gown sweeping behind her like a ripple. From the street, she looked like a bride on a magazine cover. And me, I looked like a woman waiting for a bus. 10 minutes passed, then 20. I debated leaving, but something told me to wait. Vincent arrived just after 2:30. He stepped out of a sleek black car, sunglasses on, phone in hand, tall, elegant, effortless. He entered the boutique with the kind of ease that made people hush. From where I stood, I could see Jessica lean in to whisper something to him. He looked toward the door, toward me. Then he walked out. Are you Rachel? He asked. I straightened. Yes, I was told to expect you inside. I blinked. They asked me to wait out here. His brow lifted. That's unusual. he gestured. "Come with me." And just like that, I followed him in, past the assistant, past Jessica's raised eyebrows, past Claire, still in the gown. Vincent turned to me. "I brought something I want you to try." The room quieted. Jessica looked confused. Mom opened her mouth, then shut it. Claire stared. What Vincent didn't answer her. He looked at me. "You have the posture I've been looking for," he said simply. "There's a piece that needs that kind of presence." I didn't speak. I nodded, and followed him toward the dressing room. The dressing room smelled faintly of lavender and silk. Vincent handed me a gown that wasn't on the earlier rack, a soft dove gray with delicate embroidery along the sleeves. Not a wedding gown, but something timeless, strong, understated. "I designed this for someone who knows how to command without raising her voice," he said. I didn't ask who that someone was. I just stepped into the fabric. When I walked out, the boutique hushed again. Even the assistant stopped moving. Vincent adjusted the shoulder, then stepped back. "Yes," he said softly. "This is it." Claire blinked. "Wait, she's not even in the bridal party." Vincent didn't flinch. "She doesn't have to be." Mom frowned. "Isn't this supposed to be Claire's moment?" He smiled politely. "Every bride has her moment, but sometimes it's someone else who helps define the room." Jessica muttered something I couldn't hear. Claire stared tight-lipped. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. Vincent pulled out his phone. "Let me get a photo." As he snapped the shot, I felt it, that shift in the room. The weight of eyes. The silence that wasn't empty but full of recalibration. I turned to Claire. Her jaw clenched, her hands curled around the edge of the fitting pedestal. Vincent leaned closer. "They'll be calling about this piece. If you're open, I'd like to feature you in our fall campaign." "Me? Not Claire? Not Jessica?" "Me." I nodded once. Behind me, the boutique assistant whispered, "She's perfect." I stepped down from the pedestal, walked past Claire. She didn't say a word, neither did I. Outside, the afternoon light had shifted. The street was still quiet, but I felt different. Taller somehow, not physically, but inwardly, like something had finally taken root. My phone buzzed, a message from Claire. "Thanks for making it awkward." I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the photo Vincent had taken. It was blurry on the edges, but sharp where it mattered. My face angled toward the light, calm and assured. I set it as my lock screen. When I got home, Mom called. "You blindsided her, Rachel." "She asked me to wait outside," I said. Mom paused. "Still, you could have." I didn't wait for the rest. "I didn't plan it," I said. "I just stood still." He noticed. Another pause. "She's your sister." "Yes," I said, voice soft, and I was invisible to her. Click. She hung up. I sat on the couch, still in the gray dress. I hadn't taken it off yet. Something about it anchored me. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about how silence can echo louder than shouting. That night I got another message, this time from Vincent. "They approved the campaign. We'll talk details soon. Rest well." I smiled. No reply necessary, just a quiet kind of victory. The morning of Claire's bridal shower arrived with the kind of bright sky that felt ironic. My phone had stayed silent, no invitation, no apology, not even a last-minute update. I wasn't expected, but I had received one call. From Vincent. "We finalized the shoot," he'd said. "And I'd love for you to come by the studio at 11. You'll be the centerpiece for our next launch." So while Claire cut cake in a decorated hall filled with white and blush tones, I sat in a room of clean backdrops and softbox lights. Stylists flitted around me with quiet admiration, adjusting strands of hair, brushing a soft sheen onto my cheeks. I didn't check my phone. I didn't need to. Vincent appeared holding up a tablet. "Take a look," he said. It was the campaign mock-up, my image front and center. "Strength is quiet," the tagline read beneath my photo. We shot for an hour. Afterward, I changed into a cream-colored blouse and tailored pants, something unassuming but deliberate. I thanked everyone, gathered my things, and left. I didn't plan to stop by the bridal shower, but But I found myself parked across the street from the venue anyway. Through the windows, I saw guests in pastel dresses sipping champagne. Claire stood near the front surrounded by laughter. I spotted Jessica by her side. Mom was placing small wrapped boxes near a table. I sat in the car for a moment longer. My hands didn't tremble. I wasn't nervous. I just felt clear. I walked in without ceremony. No one noticed at first. Then Jessica saw me. Her brows pulled together. She nudged Claire. Claire turned. Froze. Mom followed her gaze. I kept walking, measured calm, until I reached the gift table. One small envelope rested there, addressed in Claire's handwriting. I picked it up, slid it into my bag. Not mine. Not now. The room had gone quieter. Jessica took a step forward. Rachel. I looked at her, then past her. My eyes found Claire's. I didn't say a word. Instead, I reached into my own bag and took out a folded card. Not showy, not elaborate, just a note. I set it on the table next to a vase of white roses. Then I turned to leave. That was when the doors opened behind me. A delivery man stepped in, holding a flat package wrapped in branded black and silver Vincent's signature packaging. He looked around. "Delivery for Rachel Miller," he said. "Vincent Atelier." Someone gasped. He glanced at me. "You're Rachel, right?" I nodded. He handed me the box with care. "Vincent said to tell you, this moment is yours. Wear it when you're ready." I smiled softly. Claire looked like she'd forgotten how to blink. I thanked him and walked out, heels tapping gently against the hardwood. No one followed. No one spoke. Outside, the sun had shifted behind clouds, casting everything in soft gray. I placed the box in my car, paused, then sat behind the wheel. My reflection stared back at me in the rearview mirror, serene, not smug, certain, not loud. Inside the venue, I imagined the silence still lingering, the weight of realization slowly settling. I didn't need to raise my voice. They'd heard me anyway. I didn't drive away immediately. The engine was on, but I let it, idle hands resting loosely on the steering wheel. Behind me, the bridal shower continued, or at least it tried to. Through the glass, I could see motion but not movement, like someone had paused the scene mid-sentence. Vincent's box sat on the passenger seat. I didn't open it. Instead, I reached for my phone. Still no messages from Mom. No missed calls from Claire. No thank you, no why did you come. Not even a you shouldn't have. I scrolled for a moment, then stopped. There on Vincent's social media page was a photo. It was me, posted just minutes ago. The caption, "Every collection needs its quiet center. Meet Rachel Elegance in stillness." Within seconds, likes began flooding in. Comments appeared. Praise, admiration, and then a comment from someone I hadn't spoken to in years. "Is this Claire's sister? Wow, she's stunning." I locked the phone. It wasn't validation I sought, it was clarity. And clarity came not from being seen by strangers, but from no longer being dismissed by the familiar. A tap on the window startled me. I turned to see Jessica standing there, hesitant. I rolled it down halfway. "Hey," she said. "That delivery, was that real?" I raised an eyebrow. "Did it look staged?" She bit her lip. "Claire's freaking out inside. She didn't know you were working with him. None of us did." "That's because none of you ever asked," I said quietly. Jessica hesitated. "She thinks you planned that moment to steal her thunder." I gave a small smile. "I didn't plan anything. I just showed up." She said it made her look stupid. She made her own choices. Jessica shifted uncomfortably. "She wants you to come back in. To explain." I looked at her. "There's nothing to explain." A pause stretched between us. She said Mom's upset. That made me laugh, soft and bitter. Mom's always upset when I don't fit the part she wrote for me. Jessica didn't know what to say to that. "I should go," I said, reaching for the gear. She took a step back. "You look different. Not just today. You've changed." I nodded. I stopped waiting. She looked like she wanted to say something else, but instead she stepped away. As I pulled away from the curb, I glanced in the mirror one last time. Jessica stood there, arms folded, watching. Inside the venue, I caught a glimpse of Claire standing near the door, now still in her soft pink dress holding a glass of champagne she clearly wasn't drinking. She didn't wave. Neither did I. The street was quiet as I drove. I passed a row of bridal shops. One had a mannequin in the window, dressed in a gown almost identical to the one Claire had chosen. It looked perfect, immaculate, glossy, untouched. But it wasn't alive. It wasn't real, and just like that, I felt the final thread unspool, the last tug of comparison of chasing proximity to a family that never really saw me, loosened, drifted. I wasn't angry, I wasn't proud, I was done, and it felt peaceful. A week later, a letter arrived at my apartment. It was handwritten on thick stationery I recognized instantly Claire's. She used it for wedding invitations and thank you notes, usually with over-the-top cursive and pressed flowers in the envelope. This one had no flowers. Just her name scribbled hastily on the front. I didn't open it right away. I made tea, washed the dishes, fed the cat. I let it sit on the table while the afternoon light stretched across the wooden floor. Eventually, I slid my finger under the seal. Inside was a single page. No Dear Rachel, no greeting. Just, I didn't know you had that in you. Then another line, smaller. Maybe I never knew you at all. No signature. No apology. No invitation for a talk. But it was enough. It was the first time in years she'd acknowledged me without judgment or instructions. Not as my sister who didn't try hard enough, or my sister who makes things awkward. Just me. It didn't change everything. It didn't fix the years of being overlooked, the constant edits of myself, just to fit the backdrop of her spotlight. But it marked something. A shift. And that was all I needed. Later that week, Vincent's team emailed me again. They wanted to use more of my photos in the campaign, not just for the bridal collection, but for a new project focused on women who carry presence without noise. Their words, not mine. I said yes. We did the shoot in a sunlit greenhouse surrounded by soft fabric climbing vines and quiet strength. No one barked orders. No one rolled their eyes when I hesitated. Vincent gave small notes with big meaning. Lift your chin but keep the softness. Let your silence be the story. It felt like exhaling after years of holding my breath. At the end of the day, as I packed up my flats and sweater, he walked over. "You okay?" he asked. "I am, now," I said. He paused. "Your sister she's still mad? I don't know." I answered truthfully, "And for once I'm not checking." He smiled. "Good. She'll have to catch up on her own." We parted with a quiet nod. No drama, just mutual respect. Back home, I stood by the window as the evening unfolded outside, calm, unremarkable, beautiful in its ordinariness. I thought about all the times I'd been asked to wait outside, to stay quiet, to not embarrass anyone, and how I'd obeyed thinking silence was submission. But now I knew better. Silence could also be declaration, a boundary, a truth said without sound. I didn't need to be in their photos. I had my own. I didn't need to be their idea of a sister. I had become my own definition of whole. And as the last light slipped behind the rooftops, I whispered, not to them, not to anyone, just to myself I showed up. That was enough. Some stories don't need to be told out loud. Sometimes the loudest reckoning comes from choosing not to return fire, just turning the handle, stepping through the door, and letting it shut gently behind you. Because dignity doesn't ask for attention. It just waits steady still until everyone else realizes what it always knew.